Good morning, all.
Morning, sir.
Hope you are able to hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, Naveen. Good morning.
Thanks for the confirmation. Thank you. So here, yesterday's session, we have completed project preparation phase, right? What are the different documents will be prepared? Clear? We start in project preparation phase. We have a project agreement document, project scope document, right? Project plan document, project team, hardware and software facilities document will be prepared, and other facilities, one kickoff meeting will be conducted. So once this phase is completed, then the important phase is business blueprint phase. Business blueprint phase. One more document, most important document will be prepared. So once, okay, business blueprint phase. So in business blueprint phase, there will be two documents will be prepared. First one is as is document. As is document. Okay, as is document. We call it as another name as an CSBP, current state of business process. Current state of business process document. And this document will be prepared by core team members, CTMs. Okay, as is document, we also call it as a CSBP. So, right, what is current state of business document in the sense, what before implementation of SAP, what is the current software they are using? Clear? What is the state of the business currently? Right? They are doing TDS calculations. They'll do the payment process. Right? Every process we need the CTMs will explain how it's working in the legacy software. Clear? The complete GST or whatever it is, complete process, end-to-end process, they will prepare in this particular document. Okay, so this document, CSBP document or as is document will be prepared by CTMs. What do you mean as is document? As is document is nothing but before implementation of SAP, right? Whatever current software they are using, how the businesses process are working. Clear? How the accounts payable is working, how accounts receivable is working, right? How the payment process is working. Okay, so this will be prepared by CTMs. The existing process, they will prepare and they will, okay, step by step, they'll clearly mention in this particular document, the existing process. Clear? Next one more document will be prepared, that is, okay. So just remember current state business process. So next one more document will be prepared. To be document. To be document. We call it as an FS document. Will be prepared by consulting team. So what does it mean? See, as a consultant will understand what is the business process of as is document and current state business process, and we will write each and every step after introduction of SAP, how it going to be, work. Clear? What is the difference between the existing system software and what is the advantage over SAP, the new software? Clear? This is nothing but to be document, means after introduction of SAP, how the AP works, how the GL reporting will be generated, right? How TDS will be generated, how the bank reconciliation will be performed in SAP. that step by step, the complete documentation will be prepared. So here it's only a literature part, step by step, the consulting team will write in a document that is called FSBP document. Okay, next one more document will be prepared, BBP document, business blueprint document. Okay, what is the thing it contains in the sense? CSBP document plus FSBP plus developments. Okay, so one more document under business blueprint phase only. As this document will be prepared by CTMs, right? And to be document will be prepared by consulting team, and the same this will also prepared by consulting team. That is called business blueprint phase. What does it contains? In this business blueprint phase document, it contains CSBP, current state of business process, plus future state of business process, plus development. What is development here? What is the development here? Development is nothing but, for example, which we are not able to map the client requirements according to standard SAP. As I said yesterday, we took 90 business processes we found. Out of that, with the standard SAP, 79 business processes directly we can lift and shift to client business process. But 11 business processes we are not able to map with SAP standard business process. Then that has to be developed. That has to be developed and that has to be mapped. So who will develop this? Right?
ABAP users.
Yes, ABAPers will develop. Okay.
One second.
Yeah.
I have a question here is when we are talking about as is documentation, this documentation could be for any process like JD or JD Edwards or Oracle.
That could be
And
anything, correct.
That could be anything. And
Correct.
based on the.
Sorry? I missed your voice. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, Danish.
So basically want to know is when we talk about process maps, right? Process blueprint is nothing but we're designing the process flow, how the JD works or Oracle functions.
Correct.
And we migrate it to SAP. What is the to be process would be there, right?
Correct. Okay. The combination of these two, one more document will be prepared. As I mentioned here, see, 100% whatever SAP standard process there, that may not fit for client requirement. So out of that, whatever we are able to map directly with SAP standard business process, we can directly map. But whatever we are not able to map, that we need to do a development, which is performed by ABAPers. Clear? So, right, this is nothing but your business blueprint document. So, which is combination of your CSBP, FSBP plus developments. So, prepared by consulting team. Okay. Okay. So here we call these developments as an, or you can call it as an gaps. Clear? See, as I said that 90% we can map with the standard SAP, right? Whatever we are not able to map, those are called gaps, and those gaps can be developed by with the help of ABAPers. Clear? Any questions on this?
If you don't mind, can you type what is CSBP and
Yeah, sure.
We know it, but if
Yeah, sure.
something we don't do. Thank you.
current state of business process document, that is. So here FSBP, future state of business process document. And here, as I said, that gaps which we are not able to map with SAP standard with the client requirement. Okay, those has to be developed by the ABAPers with the help of ABAPers. So we are call it as in whatever gaps we will see, what we are able to map, that we will mention, and what we are not able to map with the SAP standards, that we will call it as in gaps, and how we are going to fill that through developments with the help of ABAPer. So that will be mentioned here in this particular document. So what are the things we will mention in the business blueprint document? Current state of business process we are going to mention. So we will call it as an as is document, and same time to be document means after implementation of SAP, how the processes are going to work, that we will mention. And same time 90% of business processes we can map with the client requirement as per the SAP standard business process. So whatever 5 to 10% we are not going to map the client requirement with SAP standard business processes, then we call it as in gaps, and those gaps will be developed as per the client requirement, and that development will be performed by ABAPers. Any questions on this? See, in the implementation project, the most of the time will spend in this particular documentation level itself. Business blueprint, 30% of time will go for this particular phase itself, in this particular phase only. 30% out of complete 100%. So the major time will go business blueprint phase. Okay. So here I have mentioned the notes also. Here I'll show you the notes. See here, again, I have mentioned here business blueprint phase. In business blueprint phase, two documents will be prepared. One is as is document and to be document, right? Same thing, CSBP and FSBP. Clear? And I have taken example also here. As is document will be prepared by core team members, what I mentioned there. In this, they will mention current state of business process before implementation of SAP, right? For example, in this document, the CTMs are mentioned. There are total 80 business processes. What do you mean by business process? 80 business process in the sense, what is exactly the term business processes in the sense? Sequential activities of a business. What do you mean by business process? Business process is nothing but a sequence of activities, right? For example, I'm into AP, invoice process. I'm doing invoice processing. What do you mean by invoice processing? Invoice processing contains sequence of steps. First, vendor will send an invoice. The AP team will receive an invoice, and after that, they will punch in the system, right, in SAP, right? And after that, it will release to further payment as per the due date. So these are the sequence of activities. So that is called business process. AP business process, AR business process. Like, what do you mean by business process? Business process is nothing but sequence of activities. Okay, are there in finance department or HR department, and each department CTMs will prepare. As I said that there are number of departments are there, 12 departments or 10 departments. So whatever departments experts are there, like as I said that in AP 20 end users are there, 20 members are there. Out of that, 2 members are involved in this particular project as a project team from AP, right? So that AP team will prepare the sequential steps, step by step, without missing any step. They will prepare one document, and that document is known as is document. So each department expert will prepare this particular document. Clear? Right? And to be document. So once as is document, as we mentioned, CTMs will prepare that, and that will be given to functional team. Functional team will check completely end to end, start to end. It will check completely. Once it's the consultant go through this document, they will prepare one more document called as is document. As is document. out of 80 business processes, functional consultants are able to map 73 standard business processes, standard SAP business processes with the client business processes. Means directly they can do configuration of 73 business processes. Out of 80, 73 business processes directly they can map it. So that mapping we call it as a configuration. Configuration and customization. Clear? Standard SAP business process. The 7 business processes which we are not able to map, those are considered as a gaps. Those are considered as a gaps, right? So in this particular document, gaps, the gaps can be customized and developed by taking the help of ABAP consultants. Means which are not there in SAP standard SAP. But even though which are not there, that can be developed with the help of ABAPers. Clear? And next one, BBP document. What is a BBP document? As just last one more document. It is a final document which contains as is plus to be and plus gaps. Within the gaps that will be developed. Once these documents are prepared, the consultant will send it to CTMs. Okay. The most important, this particular process we need to understand. Whenever we say that I'm a project manager or I have involved in the documentation business blueprint phase, in the sense, first question they are going to ask you, what is a signing process? In any implementation project, we have a process called a signing process. So that we need to understand sequentially. Any software implementation, the same signing process will be there across the globe. So what is that? Business blueprint is a final document. In that it's clearly mentioned what is as is document, means what is the current state of business process, what is the future state of business process, and what are the gaps, how they are going to develop. So the complete documentation will be prepared. Once these documents are prepared, the consultants will send it to CTMs. Core team members, they will send the to be documents and gaps. Sometimes CTMs make accept, means what happens? Okay, they will check, the CTMs, the business experts will check. Okay, if everything is fine, then they will say that we can proceed with this. But sometimes they will come up with some queries because reporting, because there's a new system, so they want to understand in depth. Okay, on the paper, not on real time, but they want to understand on paper completely. So here, prepared consultant will send to CTMs. Sometimes CTMs may accept or may not accept of the changes in to be document plus development. Functional consultant, as a part of our responsibility, okay, need to satisfy the CTMs, means whatever requirement is there, we need to map according to their requirement. We are going to mention what are the things we are going to do in the document. Once the CTMs are satisfied, means they are okay, the business experts are okay, process experts are okay, the solutions which given by functional consultants, then these documents will be forwarded to BPOs, business process owners. Nothing but, it is nothing but end user side. Business process owner, nothing but a project lead from Ready Labs. Okay, BPO, business process owner, may come up with product owner, project owner, right, from end user side. Okay, the BPO may come up with the queries. Okay, again same thing, he may, because he is having more knowledge than, for example, product knowledge than the experts, right? He may come up with few queries, right? Again, we need to satisfy them also. Okay, BPO accept the changes. Once the BPO accepts the changes, so first CTMs need to be accept the changes, BPO need to be accept, and after that, the next step would be, then the consultants will take the hard copy of business blueprint and will take the signature of the signature of BPO, nothing but head or whatever you can call. Okay, the first signature means we will take the printouts of those documents, right? Copy of BBP, and we'll take signature of BPO. we will call it as a signature one. Who will do the first signature in the sense end user side? You can call it as a center head or business process owner or whoever it is, right? From Ready Labs or any other end user side. So his first signature, we will take confirmation signature from BPO, head of end user side. Once the BPO signed, then the CTMs are supposed to sign. End user side CTMs, whoever are business experts, they need to sign it. Okay. And will call as signature 2. The signature 2 will be performed by BPO. Okay. Once CTMs are signed, then project manager from implementation partner, right? For example, BPO is the head of the center and there is a separate project owner is there. Project owner is there. Okay. And project manager is there. And this project manager has to sign as a third signature. Okay. So once project manager has signed, then the project manager from development partner must sign. So fourth signature will be done from consulting side. Okay. Fourth signature will be done by project manager from development partner. Has to sign. Okay. This is called signature 4. Fourth signature. And finally, consultants means who are going to implement, right? Who are going to configure, who are going to customize, who are going to take the server access, who are going to maintain the server access, basis consultants. So all those consultants will do a signature, and that signature we call it as a signature 5 or fifth signature. And the complete process is considered as a signing process. Clear? So first documentations will be prepared, and after that everyone accepted. Then the first signature has to be done by CTMs from end user. Okay, that is called signature 1. And second signature will be done by BPO, business process owner or head of the end user organization. He will do the second signature. Third signature will be performed by project manager from end user side, implementation partner side. Third signature. And fourth signature will be done by project manager or a product owner from development partner. Will perform fourth signature, and the last and final signature will be performed by all the consultants from development partner. Clear? And that signature is considered as a final signature. Final signature. And the complete first signature to fifth signature, okay, whatever flow we follow, that is called signing process. Any questions on this? Any questions out of this? So maybe they may ask you like, what is the signing process you have involved? What is the signing procedure for any implementation project? If you mentioned we have worked on implementation project, then definitely they'll come up with what is the signing process we have done. So whatever the organization, what not only SAP, whatever may be this software implementation, that could be Oracle, Tally, or whatever it is, this particular steps we will follow. The 5 signing processes. Any questions? Yes, no.
No, Naveen.
Okay. So the next, once that, as I said, that most of the time, 30% of our time, if we say that 1 year or 2 years duration, 30% of the time we are going to spend in preparation of this documentation part, okay, and the signature process. Most, because we need to convince lot of things, because they will come with lot of queries. Okay, they will spend always, they will think that as soon as possible they want to get their ROI, return of investments. So this 30% they won't get any sort of ROI unless until the software move to production system. So in each and every meeting they will say that, okay, we will clearly say that 1.5 to 2 years time the project, but from first meeting onwards your client will insist, because we are expecting ROI from this particular time. So we need to convince them this is still we are in this particular phase. It will take this much steps. Clear? So once we are done with this, the most important phase. So here normal consultant will pitch in. That is called realization phase. Right? Where our normal consultant will pitch in. Okay, whoever it is from realization phase onwards. Okay, so here we will touch the system. So where I'll explain the literature also. Realization phase. So till here we won't touch the system. In realization phase only we will touch the system. So any implementation project we have in any implementation project of SAP or any other project, minimum three servers will be maintained. Okay, any SAP project, not only implementation. It could be a rollout project, it could be a support project or whatever project, we will maintain three minimum servers. That is nothing but development server, development server, development server. Next one, quality assurance server. Next we have production server. Right? So what is the architecture of SAP in the sense, in realization phase in the sense, I'll explain that also architecture. So develop minimum three servers, whatever may be the project. It could be an implementation project, support project, rollout project, upgradation project, okay, enhancement project or testing project. Then we will have these three servers, minimum that is. And again, according to their requirement, they will enhance the servers also. But minimum and mandatory in SAP, three servers will be maintained. One is development server, quality assurance server, QNT server, and production server. Okay. What is development server? Development server we will use for designing the software or configuring the software. Okay, development server we will. Okay, so to design the software we will use the development server. And quality server is nothing but for testing purpose. Even though we will do some testings in development server, that is exclusively for functional consultants only. End users will not have access to development server. End users will not have access to development server. And what is quality assurance server? Before the data, whatever development, whatever configurations we have done, that will be moved to quality assurance server. Over there, the end users will do the testings, different testings. Clear? Once everything is worked perfectly, then this particular data will be moved to production server. So the real-time transactions will be performed in production server. Clear? Production environment, this is where end user will have access. In quality, see here, in development server, the functional consultant will have access, complete access, end-to-end access. In quality assurance server, functional consultant and CTMs will have complete access. But when the data is there in the production server, only the only the end users will have access. Consultant will have only the view access. They can't do any sort of modifications in this particular as we consultant, we don't have any access. We have only view access in this particular server, right? The transaction access and all other approval access and everything will be there for end users only. Any questions on this? So three servers: development to design the software, right? Quality for testing, and production for real-time activities. Any questions on this? Anyone have? Okay, in development server. So development server, we will do multiple activities. So multiple activities, I'll tell you what is multiple activities. So here, for example, in each and every server, we will have some client. What do you mean by client? What do you mean by a client? Normally, in general, client means a customer, correct? Client means a customer. But in SAP server environment, client means a 3-digit code, right? Right? For Infosys, Ready Labs is a client, right? But in SAP, client means different. So here 3-digit code, client is a 3-digit code. For example, when we log in into SAP, and everybody knows, see here, 3-digit code, client. Okay, it's a 3-digit code, right? In SAP, without giving this 3-digit code, we cannot log in into SAP system. So here, what is the client number starts with? Okay, client number, I have given the literature, don't write it now. So the client number will start from 000 to 999 maximum. Clear? 000. The client number can be 000 to 999, means total 1,000 clients. Okay, anything we can use. There are some exceptions are there. Few client numbers we are not supposed to use. I'll explain that also. So client number, client, what do you mean by a client? Client is an independent unit. Clear? Independent entity. Independent entity. We'll call it as an. What is entity? We will discuss. But remember that in SAP terminology, client means a 3-digit code. It is a 3-digit code. In general, client means a customer, but in SAP, client means a 3-digit code which starts with 000 to ends at maximum 999. Clear? So, for example, here I am taking 100 client. So, as I said that we can use any client number from 000 to 999. Right? I am taking client number example. I am taking. It's not standard. We call it as a sandbox client. Okay, it is called it as a sandbox client. Okay, just write it down. Sandbox client. And we can call this as an same test configuration client. So this is a real time we are going to see, not in end user side. So whenever we take a client place, so the client will have a development server. In that, with some dedicated 3-digit codes for each client. Okay, so that is nothing but 100 client. So here you can see the 800 client. What is a client? So SAP AG has provided this 800 client completely for training and practice purpose, for education purpose. Clear? So don't ever mention. So normally in interview, they'll ask which client you have worked, right? Client means sometimes the customer, sometimes the client number they may ask. If you say your client number, I have worked for Ready Labs, then they may ask, okay, which client environment you have worked, which client environment you have worked. So don't say this 800 client, because SAP dedicatedly given this 800 client free of cost for the practice purpose. Clear? So that's the reason I always advise to the students, don't use any 8 series client number. Any 8 series client number. For example, you mentioned it has 2 to 3 years experience, right? So I have involved in implementation project. Okay. And same thing, they may ask you, what do you mean by client and all? And after that, they ask you, which client, see, Who is your client? Explain me about your client in the sense your customer. But explain the client, your client environment. Which client environment you have worked. Means you need to say this 3-digit code. Don't use the 3-digit code of 800. Because across the globe, everyone knows the client 800 client is designed for training and practice purpose. Is this clear? So that's the reason I always advise the people, don't use any 8 series, means which starts with 8. So don't use 800 to 899. Means what does it mean? They'll feel that, okay, this particular person doesn't have a real-time experience. So they'll start pulling our legs, asking more and more questions. Clear? Any questions here? Any questions?
No, clear.
So this is, so here once, so what we will do is, for example, say you have started ready labs, and you have realized, you have taken the you have entered into a realization phase. So almost all the what we call, all the documents you have taken. So there is some time to implement. So before that, what we will do is rough practice we will do in this particular client. That's the reason we call it as a sandbox client. Sand means if you write something, you can leave that because it's not useful. Only for practice purpose, this particular client we are going to work. Here some scenarios you want to check. For example, I am good at AP, AR and GL. I am not that good in my previous implementation. I worked less on asset accounting part. So I would like to check asset accounting once more as per this particular client, right? So what we will do, that particular asset accounting I'll practice for 2 days or 3 days. So where I'm going to practice, this particular client, I'm going to practice. Clear? Understood? Sandbox client or testing configuration client. Test configuration client. Right? In a live environment, we are going to get this. Test configuration client. And okay. So here, the most important thing, normally in Word, or sorry, in Windows, whatever wants to, for example, I want to send one document in email, for example, to my HR. I have changed my organization, and my HR asked me to send last 3 months payslip, bank statements, right? Your Aadhaar, your passport, and all those stuff to HR email. So what we will do, we will send separately. What we will do, we will save all those things on our desktop in one particular folder, correct? In one particular folder, we will save it, and that folder we will send to our HR, whoever is requesting, complete, right? So that is called here in SAP, wherever we are saving the documents, that we call it as a folder. But in SAP, that folder we are going to call it as a transport request. What do you mean by the transport request? Means whatever configuration changes we have done, whatever customizations we have done, that will be stored under one particular transport request. And each transport request will be generated a number, right? And every time, whatever changes we are going to, whenever we will try to save something, then that will pop up the request number. So you need to check, is the same request you are doing the configuration, then you need to select that particular request, like how you select the folder. So what do you mean by transport request number here? So the most important, again, we are going to see different types of transport request. But remember that once we enter into the practice, before enter into the practical part, so whatever configurations and customization things we have changed, data we have changed, saved, that will be saved a folder. Instead of folder in SAP, we will call it as a transport request. And each transport request will be generated unique number. Unique number means, for example, whatever company I am working, for example, as I said, that Reddy Labs configuration. So what I'll do is all the changes I will store in one particular request number. Clear? Because that request, that complete data is for initially that will be the data will be there, the changes will be there, the customization steps will be there in development server. That has to be moved from development server to quality server. Why? To quality server to test, right? So if I saved the configurations or customizations in different transport request, clear, then it would be challenge at the time of movement, from one server to another server. So that is the reason what we will do is whatever changes, whatever customizations, whatever configurations we have done, that we will try to save in one transport request. So that if everything is there in one transport request, then at that particular point of time, we can move from one server to another server without any problem. Because if we are saving in a different transports, then there would be a challenge if we miss one transport request to move from one server to another server, probably few features may not work. So that's the reason we will save everything in one transport request. Any questions here? So here, this is whatever initially we have done working on Sandbox. So that here it is only for practice purpose we are doing. So here we will not have any transport request. No transport request will be generated. No transport request. Okay, for internal testing purpose only we are doing it. So that's the reason, no, we won't save this. We will delete, we won't save it. So no transport request will be generated in Sandbox client. Okay, is this clear? Any questions? Test configuration client and Sandbox client. Only for the practice purpose. And whatever data we are testing, we won't save it. That's the reason in this particular client, whatever practice you do, it will not generate any transport request. If you save it also, it will not generate. Clear? So next client, I'm taking this client numbers as an example. It's not real-time clients. I'm taking example. It could be in real time also. Okay. So next one. So next one, for example, one more client in the same development server, 110 client. 100 client number 110. Okay. This is called a configuration client or golden client. Some companies they call it as a configuration client and some companies they'll call it as a gold client. Okay. So the real-time configuration will be performed in this particular client. Real-time configuration will be performed in this particular. Don't remember the number, but you can remember this particular thing. So here we will do configuration. 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 Okay, configuration. Who will do this? Functional consultant. Okay, next one, customization. Customization. Okay, so what is the difference between, you know that, right? What is the difference between configuration and customization? Whatever we can map with the standard SAP business process with the customer business process, that is called configuration, right? Customization is nothing but we are modifying, which are not there in standard SAP. Functional, see, customization here I'm mentioning it as a functional consultant. Okay. So here when we do our configuration and customization, then transport request will be generated. That transport request, we call it as a customization transport request. will be generated. Clear? Fine. 100, 110. So this is a real-time configuration. So here no transport request will be generated because it's only a practice purpose. But here configurations and customizations will be performed. See here I'm mentioning not ABAPer, means once ABAPer develops, then he will give it to us those screens and we need to map functional consultant. So that's the reason I'm saying customization will be performed by the consultant. Next, in one more client. Okay, so 120 client, for example, I'm taking client number as a 120. Okay, so object development client. Okay, what is object development client? Object development clients is purely for ABAPer. It's purely for ABAPer. Clear? See here, customization in the sense they need to be gaps, and that has to be developed, and that will be taken care by ABAPer. So what developments we will do? This is very important. Okay. So there is a concept called, okay, or you can call it as an RISEF view, we will call it as an, or FRICE W. So what is that? So where the development is possible, what is the, where are the, in which area in SAP development means standard SAP cannot map with customer requirement, in the sense in this particular FRICE concept, we there is a development chances. One is F stands for means forms, right? Next one, whatever forms, this one, whatever forms end user is using, they're not mapped with sales order form or purchase order form. So the customer is using different type of form compared to SAP standard SAP. Okay, that has to be designed and developed according to the customer. Next one, R stands for reports. Okay, next one, I stands for interfaces. What are the different interfaces? C stands for conversions. Next one, E stands for enhancements. And W stands for workflows. Workflows. So RISEF view, they'll call it as an, or some companies they'll call it as an RISEF view and FRICE view. Okay, so the most important, so means customization and development is possible in this particular areas. So we will see in depth on this particular areas. How means development activity we won't say, but how it would be differ. Forms will be differ from standard SAP. I'll show you those documentations. How the forms will be differ from customer requirement and SAP standard, and how they are going to develop. Clear? Same, right? Reports. So here, whatever these 6 areas, okay, this FRICE, this FRICE forms, reports, interfaces, which starts with, okay, starts with Z or Y. Means any customized forms will start with F, Z or Y. Other than Z or Y, okay, other thing are standard. If any form starts with Z, then it is a customized. Our report also, if it starts with Z, then it is nothing but customized. Okay. What is the difference between Z reports and Y reports? Z forms and Y forms, right? Z workflows and Y workflows, right? Z is nothing but Z, which the reports which starts with Z or any transaction starts with Z means is company is having 10 countries, 10 countries. So we want to utilize those reports, okay, across all my company codes, 10 countries company codes, same standard, right? Which is not SAP standard. The whatever reports we have generated or whatever transactions customized, that has to be used for all the 10 company codes which are spread across the countries. Okay, so that is nothing but a global transaction related to that particular client, global reports to related to that particular client. Global means any transactions which start with the Z, right? That is nothing but global to that particular client, that particular customer, right? For example, ZF110, if I take a popular transaction, that's the reason. F110 is SAP standard. ZF110, one particular client required configuration, customized transaction, that is right across the globe wherever ready labs is there. For example, it is there in India, for example, Australia, US. So they whatever reports and transactions they have generated that wants to utilize across the globe wherever ready labs is there, then that particular transaction we will, that particular report or transaction or workflows, we will start with Z. Then what is Y? What is Y in the sense it's not global, means for few transactions ready labs is in India, right? If you take taxation reports, right? For example, India is using different tax reports, GST. US is having a different tax system, Australia is having a different tax system. So for example, they want some reports as per the local requirement, right? Regional, then those transaction, those reports has to be generated according to that particular country requirement or regional requirement or whatever it is. And those transactions will start with Y. Those transactions will start with Y. Means you can see Y and Z. Z is nothing but client to global requirement are as customized. Y is nothing but it's not a global. So that particular country or that particular region, the client wants to use it. For other country and other regions, he want to use other transaction. Any questions on this? Any questions on this? So here in interview again, they may ask you, have you involved in any customized transactions? In the sense, same thing, we can use these examples. I'll explain you each and everything. But meanwhile, just remember this SRUSTY concept. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, you can write it as a Z transactions, or Z reports are Z transactions. It's for global. Okay. When it comes to Y, okay, and Y transactions,
Regional.
company code specific, or country specific, or unit specific. Okay. Any questions here? So Z means across the globe, this particular, wherever the organization is there, complete. Okay. 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 Any transaction will start with Y, company code specific or country or unit specific. Okay. Next one. We have one more client, 130 client. So here, development test client. Development test client. So number is just example I took. Okay, development. See, whatever developments are there, this RISE-F, whatever concept we call it, so that will be tested in one particular client. That is called development test client. Okay, so who will do the test? Who will do the test? Tested by technical and functional consultant. Means ABAPers plus B. Consultant with test data. Means sample data. So here, what is test data? Okay, in this test data, we will create some GL accounts, we will create some vendors, we will create some customers, right? Assets we will create. Okay, sample data will be created. With that sample data, we will do the testing, whether end to end it is working perfectly or not. So both will perform this particular. Okay. Okay, for testing purpose, see here, whatever configurations we have done, that has to move from the whatever configuration and customization we have done, that for testing purpose, that has to be transported to development test client. Okay, what from where to where we need to move? From, sorry, so here from development test client means the data, the configuration, whatever configurations we have developed here, we have configured, so that particular data will move from configuration client or golden client to right development test client. That has to move. Okay, it is moved. And who will move this? This will be moved by functional consultant. Means where we are going to save this we are going to save in transport request, and that transport request will be moved by functional consultant. Okay, and same time, whatever object development client, whatever developments has taken place, this particular data will be moved, the transport request will be moved from object development client to development test clients by ABAPer. Okay, so here these are all in which server? 110 client, configuration golden client, object development client, development test client, or are in which client, which server? In which server? Hello?
Reports.
It is nothing but in development server. Within the server, from one client to another client, if data wants to move, right, then as a functional consultant, we can do it. Okay. We can, as a functional consultant, we will move the transport request from within a server, one client to another client. But if we want to move this particular complete after testing, if we want to move from development server to quality server, then as a functional consultant, it's not our job. Who will move this? So we will give the transport request to basis consultant. Whatever configuration, customization, tested data, okay, everything will be saved under one particular transport request, and that particular transport request will be given to basis consultant. He's a technical consultant, and he will perform the movement of data from one server to another server. Okay, so if the data have to move from one server to another server, that will be done by basis consultant. Within the server, from one client to another client, if the data need to move, then either as a functional consultant we can move if it is a configuration related, and if it is a development related, then the ABAPer will move that transport request from one client to another client within the server. Any questions on this? Clear, everyone?
So sorry, Naveen, I have a question here.
Yes, please.
When you're talking, when we are saying is when we transfer the data from one server to other server,
Yes.
we are talking about one ERP to other ERP,
Not
or
ERP
is
here.
it
No, with
okay?
this is a SAP server structure architecture.
Okay,
Clear, not from legacy system to SAP. So whatever things we will develop, see all the development configuration, everything will be done in development server. Okay,
okay, got
so
it.
that has to be tested by what we call CTMs. That need to be tested by CTMs, and CTMs nothing but core team members will not have access to development server. So where they can do the testing, the complete whatever development, whatever configurations we have done. So that will be moved from develop the data, complete data, end-to-end data will be moved or copied and moved from development server to quality assurance server. So over there,
Got
the
it, got
client customer will do the testings with the sample scenarios in the quality server.
Yeah, got it, got it.
Okay.
So it's a production environment, then UIT environment, and then live go live. Then.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, so we will stop here itself today. We will see tomorrow the other two servers, how the data will move and all. So this is very important concept and development server. So few interview questions may expect it.
Naveen, sorry to call you at this time.
Yeah.
Naveen, actually, if you see, we will slowly start using the SAP for HANA now. So if you want to get to access to S4 HANA, could you please give insight so that we can get that one?
Actually, what I advised is actually like initially we will see the ECC phase first. Okay, so what I advise is people need to take ECC server access. Okay, because ECC server access there, as I mentioned earlier also, they are charging around 1200 to 1500 rupees per 6 months. But when it comes to S4 HANA server, so they are charging around 1500 to 2000 rupees per month. So what I advised is don't take any S4 HANA server access because I have few credentials on S4 HANA. Clear? Once we start with the S4 HANA phase, then I'll give you the credential, then you can practice it.
Okay, Naveen. Good
So
to know.
instead of paying every month 2,000, so we can just take only people can take only the ECC access. Meanwhile, ECC with EHP 7 or EHP 8. Okay, and after that S4 HANA credentials I'll give to all.
Okay. Could you share the link so that I can get that one?
ECC one.
Yeah, ECC.
Yeah, I'll share the contacts.
Okay, okay.
I'll
Thank you.
share in the group. You can check which one is the best. You can go with them.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you all. Any other questions? Because these are few technical terms, probably it may a little challenge to understand, but we need to take this. Okay, thank you all. See you in tomorrow's session.
See you. Thank you. Bye bye, Naveen.
Bye bye.
Thank you.